Everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. Sorry, we have, it's gonna be a little bit of a quieter episode here today, because we got the baby. The baby's here. Hello, baby. You might hear a little babbling. You might even hear a little, fussing. If you hear some fussing, I'll probably pause the video, but I'm on baby duty this morning. But, you know, the videos, they still gotta come out at 6 a.m., right, sweetie? I can't tell. She has a very... It's an ambiguous expression. You know how, like, an expression can be empty? Like, you feel like the person who has the expression doesn't feel anything? Her expression is, like, saturated. I'm just not sure with what emotion. Curiosity? Are you curious? Are you wondering what the heck Daddy's doing? Oh, a little smile. Okay, that probably buys us a floor. All right, we're playing as Apollyon today, and this is for double digits. You know, the runs have been pretty easy so far on this random streak, with the exception of the lost one, which was a little spicy. And I guess now that I think about it, the first two were actually like kind of spicy to begin with. Okay, Apollyon is a dangerous creature, indeed. A creature the size of a tangerine. I gotta tell you, I have not seen Tenet yet. By the way, this is a preview of what I really feel like all content is going to be like moving forward, until I'm able to have a little bit more free time to watch, you know, media regularly. Like, I already get, like, a lot of media exposure daily just because of the fact that I'm making media. That might be, like, a little bit of an overly grandiose way to describe it, but you kind of get what I'm talking about. But I have not seen Tenet yet, I have to admit. I do, and it's not rare, I do like Christopher Nolan. I understand the criticisms. Some of them I agree with, some of them I don't. Like, the idea that, you know, his movies are kind of, like, distant or emotionally detached, like the characters seem a little flat. I wouldn't say I like it, but I tolerate it in the movies, you know? It's part of the style of the Nolan filmography, I think, that things are a little clinical and antiseptic and so on and so forth. But I will admit, I don't know, something about sound, you know? I don't assume that I know more about movie sound than Christopher Nolan. All I assume is, you know, I know that I like to hear dialogue clearly, and I have heard that has been a problem for people in Tenet, and I have also heard that is, I mean, not even heard, but it was a problem for me in The Dark Knight Rises. I don't know, like, at home, anytime I've seen, like, The Dark Knight Rises on TV, I feel like I understand Bane pretty well. The one or two times it's come on, like, Showcase, for example. But when I saw it in theaters, I was like, I got no idea what this guy's saying, but I'm pretty sure he's the villain. Your punishment must be more severe. I still don't remember anything about Bane's... Wait, what's Bane's motivation? It's funny, because I haven't seen Batman and Robin since I was, like... I don't know, at oldest, I was probably, like, 12 the last time I saw it. The first time I saw it, I was like 8. But I remember Bane from Batman and Robin more than Bane from The Dark Knight Rises, even though The Dark Knight Rises is actually probably like 100 times better as a movie. Batman and Robin, genuinely pretty bad. Like, really bad. It was like the punching bag for bad movies. We've moved on to other stuff, but for years, I had heard a story, and I don't know if this is true, you know, it's not like I work in Hollywood, but... I'd heard a story that if you went up to George Clooney and you said, hey man, I saw Batman and Robin in theaters, he would give you $10 in cash from his pocket. That's just what I heard. I don't know if it's true. It definitely seems like one of those stories that was... I'm gonna go back for that bomb. Definitely seems like one of those stories that's like a friend of a friend met George Clooney, and then he said, then you know, yeah, George said, and then, you know... And then I said, and a student in the back of the class raised her hand and said, it's Ladasha. You know, like stories that definitely r/that happened. Anytime so it's a story that has been circling around the internet a long time, which is like, yeah, you know, people have got unusual names these days. Like a friend of mine is a substitute teacher, and she was in class, and somebody's name was LA-A, and she went La-A, and then someone held up their hand at the back of the classroom and said, "It's Ladasha." Anytime, and for years I've been maintaining this story 100% did not happen. That's not my suggestion that it could not happen. Merely, my personal belief, which you have to respect under the Constitution, is that it did not happen. And many, many dozens of completely unrelated people are like, no, it's real. It happened to a friend of mine. It just, the more people tell me that they have experience with this specific story and that it's real, the more I know it's not. It's like the shared nightmare that people have. You ever see that, like, this man's face is appearing in millions of people's dreams across the world? Like, I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I have no explanation for it. I'm just saying, you know, it seems more like there's some, like, you want to believe it's real, or, you know, 1 in 10 people have a friend who is a teacher who saw that story online and went, I'm going to tell that story as if it's mine. That's the other alternative that I subscribe to, but again, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I'm just looking over at the baby. What goes through the mind of a baby, you know? I've got her in this baby Bjorn bouncer chair. You're probably not picturing the right thing, because I wouldn't have before I had a kid. It's not the bouncer where they're like in a harness and they jump up and down. It's the bouncer where it's almost like it looks like a wedge, and there's 2 parts. There's like a thin metal base, and then there's like a little angled chair that comes off of it. So the angled chair, you can kind of like, you can push it down like a 3-hole punch sort of situation, and then the baby, it conserves momentum and bounces them up and down. And she's just like looking at the wall. She has an enormous smile on her face. It's so cute. But like, you're just looking at the wall, right? Like, we got all these, well, I don't want to say expensive, because of the whole scheme of things, like, you know, there's having a baby is expensive, I'll admit, but a lot of the baby apparatuses on an individual level are not that pricey. You know, you're talking about stuff, you know, it's like $30 or something like that. But we got like these, you know, we got a mobile for you. It spins around. It plays a jazzy version of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. 99 times out of 100, she does not care. More of a rockabye baby sort of customer, I guess. Dude, I really should have sucked up this item, but I didn't, and now I have to pay the price. Take me to the next floor. Maybe the baby is happy because there's an endless stream of dialogue coming from Daddy. Is that the case, baby? Is that the case, baby? She's pogged. She's seeming pretty pogged. Okay. We have some work to do. We have improved our stats 0 on this run. Not good. Not good. However, we do have a pretty strong ability here to get some good stats. By the way, so like, we didn't suck up Magic 8 Ball, and we didn't suck up Celtic Cross. You know why? We had Curse of the Blind on the first floor. I forgive myself those trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. I didn't suck up Dry Baby. That's because Dry Baby is actually a good item. It's worth more as part of the crew than it is as most of the stats. Maybe, honestly, maybe even as all of the stats. It might even be worth more than a Tears upgrade. Than 1 Tears upgrade. Anyway. But I should have sucked up the other one. Whatever the heck it's called. Push pin? Safety pin, there we go. I gotta say, by the way, you know, normally when I talk about Twitter, I'm genuinely, like, I don't suffer from, like, serious mental health consequences of being online, I think. But I think I'm still stacking up New Year's resolutions. You know, there's no rule that they have to be done, you know, by the 1st or the 2nd, or today's the 5th. But I'm still stacking up some New Year's resolutions. You know, I think one of them might be to like try to only use Twitter for work-related stuff. I really I'm too old to follow all the stuff that's going on Twitter, man. But that being said, I don't know if I can stick to it right now. It's just floating around in the old brain. But I do see some good memes from time to time. Like, there was a screen cap from Spider-Man 3. And it's Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane Watson. And she says, "Peter, it's not about you, it's about me." And then Peter Parker says, "MJ, the movie's called Spider-Man 3. Like, come on. I laughed. I thought to myself, you know what? That's the kind of dumb humor I can get down with. By the way, I'm a big fan of dumb humor. I say that as somebody. Oh, that's a good one. That's a bingo. I say that as somebody who, I think if I were to characterize my own unique brand of humor, for the most part, it tries to be more intelligent than the person saying it. Like, I consider myself, you know, whether I'm intelligent or not, I feel like I have an openness to learning, which is one of the more important skills, in my opinion. So I'm not going to say that I'm the world's smartest man, but what I will say is I think, you know, I have a respect for learning that, at least, let me put it this way. Rather than being afraid of the smart people, I respect and revere them, which is the least I could do, really. And if one day you become the greatest, you know, engineer in Earth's history, just remember who the court jester was, whose content you enjoyed on your rise to the top, and you give me a role as like the guy in the kingdom that, like, you know, sits on the toilet seat so that it gets warm, so your royal butt doesn't get cold when you take a seat on the toilet. That's all I ask. That's my long-term career plan, okay? But I think quote-unquote dumb humor gets a very bad rap. Because when I was a kid, well, even as a teenager, most of the most famous comedians, there were exceptions. Like, I don't think anybody would describe Mitch Hedberg's humor as, like, cerebral, you know? It was, like, just because it was one-liners doesn't mean it's not intelligent. But it wasn't like that hyper-literate sort of, like, Dennis Miller, Lewis Black, David Cross, sort of like, you know, "I'm angry. Does anybody else think that this reminds them of this thing from Greek tragedy?" You know, like, oh, we definitely want that. And hold on, I don't think we care about this then. And it gave us a speed upgrade anyway, which is actually completely fine. Now we're starting to pog. Now we're starting to pog. Anyway, that's what I'm, like, I think in some ways, dumb humor is actually, can be, not always, but can be smarter than smart humor. Because really, smart humor is kind of, a lot of the times, it's like dotting the lines, you know? It's like making a funny metaphor or like allegory or something. Like the Dennis Miller style was always like, you know, I don't want to go off on a rant here, but does anybody think that you know, the last few days of this administration feels a little bit like Wagner's Götterdämmerung? I mean, the angels are descending from the heavens right now. The horns are playing, but nobody can hear them. And then people in the audience would go, yes, coherence, you know? Like, that was quote-unquote smart humor. And dumb humor was stuff like, you know, Mitch Hedberg, which is, I think, is definitely aged a lot better. But, like, in some way, I'm envious of people. I'm not a comedian, you know. By the way, why didn't I suck up this item? I think I just saw that it was an orbital, and you know, I was going off on a rant here. I'm not in the world of comedy. I just try to be funny. But I'm very envious of people who can make Zoomer humor that's just like a vibe. I know I've said it a few times before, but it's true. Like, I think it takes, you really gotta have a creative mind to make a joke that is, like I understand how to make a joke that's like a comparison between two things that's highlighted for absurdity. Like, that's my whole modus operandi, you know? Thank God that bomb waited a second. But how do you make a joke? I come back to it. That Chibli made a tweet that was just like, "Frick it, grande mantis." and it's just a mantis inside of a Starbucks cup. Like, I've spent hours and hours poring over this tweet and the machinations for it, both consciously and unconsciously, and it's like, there's nothing to get in the joke. And the other part of the joke that's great is that it has one of those Starbucks, like, printed stickers on it that just says Mantis. Like, the attention to detail is sublime. But I understand the joke. I don't understand how you come up with it. Because, like, every single joke in my head starts with something like, you know, wouldn't it be funny if former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright had a YouTube channel back in the day? Okay, I don't know why I placed that there, but, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Madeleine Albright, here to talk about international tariff laws and stuff like that. That's my level of humor. I'm really genuinely, like, envious and also reverential towards that Grande Mantis tweet. I don't understand how you come up with it. It's like more it's so creative. It's like, it's not a joke. It's an invention. Anyway, so I don't know. I've spent too much time going off on this. Keep looking over, making sure the baby's okay. She's loving it, man. I don't really know, like, what she's loving, but she's loving it. Just looking at the wall. You looking at the fan? It do be producing some airflow in this room. You're not wrong. Very useful. I'm still, like, okay, so we're Dank Depths 1. We're actually kind of, like, on pace. Just how I describe getting to boss rush, even though we haven't done boss rush in like 6 months. We're on pace. I don't expect to do boss rush, but I'm very surprised at the speed of which we're making it here. Because I feel like this run actually kind of sucks. I think, so here's the, I'm about to risk it all here, okay? We're gonna take Guppy's head. We're gonna use Guppy's head. And then we're gonna suck all this up because we wanted, we get the flies from Guppy's head, obviously, but I wanted to suck up the bombs because I feel like 5 poison bombs, it's not gonna move the needle as much as a stat upgrade, and we got pretty lucky. I'd say we got a tears upgrade out of it. It was very nice. Still need like a lot of upgrades, really. Like, it's not horrible, but certainly, like, we have a balanced run right now. Everything's just about average. Rate of fire is maybe a little better than average. Damage is pretty standard for this stage of the game. HP is probably a little on the low side. But we're getting there. I'm like, it's hard, like, people get very into, like, the telling stories about their own babies, right? Like, I'm struggling, I guess. I'm trying to figure out, like, how to contextualize the fact that I keep looking over at our baby, and I'm like, she's now, you okay? I'm like, I've never seen her just, like, just look at the wall and be, like, so smiley. It's like, no wonder people think that, like, babies have, like, special powers and stuff, right? They can, like, see into the spirit realm. Because if you saw, like, an adult looking at the wall and smiling, you'd be like, what, is that, like, a secret door? Like, if I pull on one of the books in the bookshelf, is the wall's gonna pivot around and you have a secret passage to the quarters of Queen Anne? See, like, that's the joke I make. So that's a reference to both An English Monarch and also the Yorgos Lanthimos film, The Favorite from 2018. You know, like, that's my humor. Meanwhile, people on Twitter are getting 2 trillion likes just typing, like, Reese's peanut butter cups. And I'm one of the likes. What can I say? Anyway, I'm just happy she's pogged. I was like, it's gonna be a weird stream day today because, like, Kate has to go to an appointment. So I'm gonna be watching the baby during Gex. And Daniel and I are supposed to do a Minecraft co-op speedrun. neither of us, I mean, we've both played Minecraft, obviously, but neither of us have ever, done a speedrun of Minecraft, much less, or a speedrun of anything, really, much less a speedrun of Minecraft, and then also combine that with the fact that I'll be, you know, looking after the baby, during the speedrun, and let's put it this way, it could be unique content. But if it works, it works. But yeah, I'm kind of like, oh, I hope the baby, like, is having a normal day, and turns out she's chilling. I wonder, you know, I don't mean to, it might just be that she pooped her pants and she, like, feels happy about it, right? You don't know what goes through the mind of a baby at all times, or really at any time except for when they're, like, exactly, obviously hungry. But I wonder if it's not, and maybe I'm flattering myself, that, you know, to a baby, her parents' voices are like the sweetest sound in the whole wide world. And she's like, you know what? It's a dream come true to be here. It's two of my favorite things in the world. I get to hear my dad's voice. No idea what he's saying. Once she starts to understand what I'm saying, she'll probably want to hear a lot less of it. Yes, I know, okay? He's like the Copernicus of Twitch. I get it, okay. But for now, she's like, since I can't understand them, it's very sweet. I think we should definitely try to get 4 items here. This could be... Oh, but we don't have any extra bombs, so we need 1 more bomb to show up here. We can get 3 extra items. And if you're mad that I'm not going to fight Mega Satan, I have a very simple line of reasoning for this. Well, first off, we could get keys later. The angel statues would keep showing up, but... my thinking is that Mega Satan is like a little poo-poo baby boss fight, nobody cares. You know, we fought him 1,000 times. I would much rather take this opportunity to carpe diem. By the way, you remember when everybody was tweeting carps on Twitter? Did anybody make a carpe diem joke? Like, whoa, I have seen a lot of fish on Twitter before, but if you really want some surprise, let me show you my carpe diems. Anyway, like, if that one doesn't, I'm sorry, I'm just sorry. But I think that could be really good. Okay, so we, got no useful items at all out of, or no useful stats at all out of, the 3 items we sucked up there, so it's not so good. Clicker is, probably worse than a waste of time. I'm not yet, like, at that moment of, like, this is really, really, really bad. Because that was a poor dodge. Our stats are actually, like, pretty great. Or at least they're a good base for what's to come. But as the floors get harder and harder, if we don't scale proportionally, the game becomes substantially more difficult to kind of, like, see yourself getting out of, right? And that's about where we stand right now. So I'm actually going to take this opportunity to peep this room, because we, you know, Guppy is kind of a shortcut for us to get to some level of goodness again. Could this be a secret room? Does it matter? Not really. Okay. Alright. Well, I guess we will move on then. It's workable. Baby. This is wild. Like, this is like a blessed moment for me, for sure. I mean, like, for obvious reasons, but, like, also just... I expected she'd be a little bit more fussy. Who would have thought the baby's mind is like, you know, I'm getting attention right now, because there's, like, a constant din of dialogue in the background. She doesn't even know I'm talking about Spider-Man 3. He web... He kiss upside down. I didn't say his name, but I bet I know who popped into your head. So, let's talk, like, realistic pathways for this run to reach some degree of greatness. Sucking up blank card from the shop would be awesome. That's the main reason I haven't used the sun card yet. You know, if I gotta use the sun card in order to get us there, like, to live, to be as non-specific as possible, or as specific as possible, I should say, then we will, of course, do so. Like, if that bomb had hit me, yeah, we're gonna drop the sun card in there. Similarly, fairly tempted to just drop it on this room to begin with, because this is a dang nightmare. And yet, dude, I don't know, there's also, I think there's something to be said for the fact that, like, this whole video, my right foot has been, like, bouncing the baby's chair. I almost wonder if that isn't keeping, like, my mental APM high. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna be honest. Probably not the most prudent use of the sun card, but it felt right in the moment. And if we get blank card, oh well. You know, I'll suffer the curse that I've inflicted upon myself. That's a much worse card. That is a substantially worse card. Let me out, thank you. Now just don't stand in a place where you can get hit. This could be a big win for you. Hey, what's wrong, baby? Or what's poggin'? I can't tell. You never know what... I've said it 20 times. What goes through the mind of a baby? Who knows? I will say I'm gonna pause and just check on her. It looks like she may have had a little bit of spit up, so just give me one moment here. And we're back. I really don't understand, like, were I a baby? And I think we do take this because it should lower our tier cap. That's why that information is not often relevant, but that in this situation, oh yeah, I'm thinking I'm pogged. And I mean, that's like a 20% damage bonus right out of the gates. The fear aspect of it, kind of inconsequential probably, but still. Were I a baby, I feel like I would simply choose not to spit up, you know? But for whatever reason, oh... Well, that's probably not true, because let's flip the script, you know? If my diet was exclusively milk-driven... Right, we've already been. You know what? We could do this, though. Worth it. If my diet were exclusively milk-driven, I feel like I would probably throw up a lot more. Or at least suffer gastrointestinal distress on a similar degree. Maybe not so much throwing up, but definitely experiencing some bloat, let's put it that way. It really is amazing. Nothing will remind you more of the fact that human beings are simply animals than the fact that a baby subsists on a diet of literally 100% milk. I mean, sure, like if you're using formula, some formula. And every once in a while, you know, you gotta give the baby, like, you know, some yogurt. I'm joking. I'm joking! But anyway, hold on. Let's grab this. I just want to see, because we're gonna perthrow here, I think. Perthrow. And I don't really think either of those items were like insanely useful. But the flip side is that I do think at least we can suck up the mom's box trinket and try to create like a trinket of some serious value. And I would say mission failed, but that's okay. It's a start. Now, things look bad, but there is a tinted rock back there. There's some blue fires here. Yeah. I'm still very optimistic on this run. The world or this? I think I'd rather have the world. We could use the stars card to teleport out of the boss rush, though. Remember, dude? Remember, like, when we were on pace? Those were the days. Those were the freaking days, though. But yeah, like, I think as a human being, as an adult, you can kind of, you know, you can lose yourself in the idea that we're this, like, higher elevation of animalia. You know what I mean? And I actually, like, I'm not... For being as misanthropic as I can be, I'm not really, like, anti-people. Like, every once in a while, you'll hear someone say something like, the world would be so much better if, like, bees were running the world. And I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think so at all, honestly. Like, people will say things about bees that are like, the bees are not gonna hurt you. They just perceive you as a threat to their hive. And you're like, yeah, that's the same as me. I don't go out seeking conflict with the bees. I'm not, like, an insane person. But when the bee is hanging out, like, we're just having a seat on the patio or something like that, and a bunch of bees are buzzing around, people act like it's your fault that the bees are, like, you know, gonna sting you. You're like, the bee and I both operate on the same principle. You don't bother me and I won't bother you. But apparently that's not the way it works. Oh, because your brain is 400% larger by volume and mass. Obviously about 300% for the average person, but for me it's more like 400. Now I'm supposed to make concessions for the bee or whatever. But anyway, you lose yourself because as a human being, you know, like... And it's not the same for everybody, you know, depending on your situation and where you are in the world, but it's very easy for me to disassociate from the idea that I'm a member of the animal kingdom. You know, yes, I have to... Yes, I have to crunch, you know, some biomatter in order to keep the metabolic processes going and stuff like that, obviously. But, like, you know, rarely is it like... Oh, I need to eat because I'm starving to death. It's more like, you know, oh, it's lunchtime, and I'm a little peckish, you know? This is a very, very, very important floor. No! We needed to deal with the devil so badly, man. We can still get it. We can still get it. Don't lose hope, baby. F. I don't think this has been my best run in terms of decision-making process. I'll leave that one out on the table. I feel like we have dodged, actually, like, pretty well, shot pretty well, and been let down by decision-making process. There's a few items in this list, you know, there's no guarantee that the run would look differently right now. Oh, hold on. There's no guarantee that the run would look differently right now if I had, you know, sucked up the razor, for example. But, you know, you can't really use that as an excuse. You kind of gotta just... Whenever you get the opportunity, when you're like, oh, this item's actually kind of stinky, you gotta kind of go for it, right? So we still have an 18% chance, wow, of a deal with the devil. Crazy. It's about a 1 in 5.5, roughly. You know, so, and then in my head I was like, oh my god, dude. 1 in 5.5, that's like a 18%. Like, I did the reverse engineering. I'm getting a little bit, like, fed up with the matriarch, you know? But I've allowed myself to return to some degree of normalcy here, because I've reminded myself that missing with that bomb is not good. That one at least hit. But I've reminded myself we do at least start with a little bit of invincibility. I really just need you to be Chubb as soon as possible. Thank you, thank you. Now this Chubb is still pretty... A little scary, at least. It's not even... Like, the hard part of the matriarch is not even the matriarch so much. It's... Yes, it's that. The little silkworm minions that get shot out. And obviously, like, about 100% of the screen just becomes awash with enemies at any given time, and bullets. But it's really those minions... We can't hold both, so we'll stick with the stats. Hey baby, hey baby. It's the minions that take forever to kill. Okay, okay. Thank you, Dry Baby. So you know, you start to believe in the power of this run making it to where it needs to go. Maybe I'm not a believer to the extent like I think it's a guarantee. No! I timed it. Like in my head I was like, oh no. This is probably it. I'm setting the stage. I'm not giving up. But I'm letting you know. We made it. It's just that easy. Really, like, out of this blood bank, we just need to blow you up. You just need to go. Okay, a single penny. It's a great deal. One of the greatest deals in the history of deals. Take it. Exactly what we needed. At this point, you gotta try. Weehoo! Big summer blowout. Baby. The other thing about having a newborn baby, you really realize that, like... I used to think that Pavement sang songs about, like, being a slacker in late 80s, early 90s California. But listen to the song Summer Babe and tell me it's not about having a newborn. Because right now she's, like, eating her whole hand. Or as Stefan Malkmus would say, she's eating her fingers like they're just another meal. Isn't that right, baby? She's like, yeah, that's right. I'm eating my whole hand. Babies fall asleep weird, too, sometimes. Like, sometimes she falls... And I swear you're not gonna believe this. Sometimes she falls asleep with her arms, like, straight up in the air. Like if you were doing a zombie costume for Halloween. It's very weird. Not often, but every once in a while, you'll be like, is the baby okay? And you'll look over, and she's like... She's doing, like, a Frankenstein impression. And you're like, yeah, she's good. She got confused. She thinks it's October. Send it. Send it? I'm sending it? Send? Okay. How the heck... Well, I mean, it doesn't even need to be said. I was gonna say, how the heck are we gonna get out of this one? There's no answer, because the answer is fundamental, right? The way we get out of this run is the same way you win any Isaac run. Get a large enough assortment of good items, and then, you know, go to town. The problem is we're late in the game. You know, you don't expect to get items, basically from this point onwards, unless you get to deal with the devil, until you get to the chest. But then I'm like, man, just to get to the chest is gonna be a bit of a stretch, you know? Oh no, baby. I stopped bouncing her for like I would say an 1/8 of a second, and she went, wah! Okay, so that doesn't compromise our deal with the devil. Our deal with the devil was already kind of screwed up. Come on, man. Come on, Jack. There we go. There's red hearts we could go back and take if we need them. We do know, like, we got a really good... And I don't even want to think about what this run looks like if we don't get those 2 health upgrades from pills. So, like, this is one where I gotta tell you, the pills did a great job for us. Now, should I continue to take them? I don't know, I'm a little scared at this point. You know, we've had so many good pills. I'm like, the consequence of a bad pill it seems that much more likely to get. Which I actually think, believe it or not, does kind of hold statistically true. I mean, there's only a few actually useful pills in the game, so... You know, once you've seen 2 out of, like, the 6 of them, you're probably slightly more proportionally likely to see bad ones. So unfortunately, we are stuck doing this room. Anytime you want to get involved, by the way, Dry Baby, I know there's, like, not a lot of bullets in the air, so it's kind of hard for you to find a way to get involved here, but maybe you can find it in your heart to make some help. Oh, I don't even know what happened there. Hey, baby. Bombs. Very nice. Very useful. I don't even know where I am now. You know, trying to... one of my many, many New Year's resolutions. Stay a little bit more positive. You know, what does my brain want to say? My brain is, you know, I've trained it over the years to be cynical. I think because I grew up in, like, the MTV era, where, like, cynicism and being sarcastic was kind of considered, like, you know, it correlated with perceived intelligence, at least. And then, you know, if anybody ever got on your case about being cynical, you would simply say something like, I'm sorry, I just use my sarcasticness as a way as a defense mechanism because I'm actually very sensitive. And people would be like, okay, I forgive you for being an a-hole. So we don't really care about that, unfortunately. We don't really care about that, but we're working towards a better goal here. But I'm trying to... Like, I feel like it's not the right energy to bring into the world to be like a cynical dad, right? Like, I feel like you and I hold on. We don't want that either. I'm just it's a bit of a puzzle here. Like, when you're like, send it. When you're 17, whatever, you can be cynical. Who cares? You got nothing else to do. Not to be rude, but I didn't have anything else to do, at least. But when, you know, when you're like a dad, you can't be cynical. It's like your kid's, you know, first day of 2nd grade. Yeah, whatever, enjoy school. When it's over, you're just gonna have to get a job like the rest of us, right? Like, that's not good dad energy. You gotta be like, have a great day at school, sweetie. Yeah, the 4 times tables are really hard. When in your head, you're like, no, they're not. I know these. Okay, maybe don't lose your shield right away, but... Okay, we got it. We got it. It's a real... This is our last chance for, like, the easiest redemption we could possibly muster. Not that we are in need of redemption. If anything, the run's kind of in need of redemption, but... It's not quite a train wreck. I'm also, by the way, you could probably, you know, derive this for yourself. I'm very excited about the prospects we will face on the chest when we have 8 luck. But we do need to have the power to live through, bro. We do need to have the power to live through part of the chest to begin with in order to get to that point. So, like, we got a lot of HP. It should be relatively easy to beat Isaac if you just teleport me into the boss fight right now. And we know we're about to get 4 items. And what's crazy is that this run is also, like, artificially inflated by the fact that I never use my spacebar and I have illuminated bulb right now. So, like, but that's okay. I'm not negative about it. This is it's still a pretty survivable run, except for that part where I was like, we're gonna die. It's still a pretty survivable run. It's just a little slower. You know what? Might have to bomb our way through that room one more time. We're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, alright. Now start the dance and one more time. I'm having a crisis, baby. I've taken like 5 pills in this game. Every time a pill drops, I'm like, that must be full health or health up. And then it's not. And I'm like, sweetie, don't listen. Your dad's brain has gone bad. Maybe I need... I was gonna say, maybe I need to go on the milk-based diet. But I don't really like the connotations of that, so... Every once in a while, and this is getting into some heavy quote-unquote weird champ energy, but every once in a while people will ask, like on stream for example, they'll be like, you know, since you got like a bunch of like human milk, when you're making a bottle up for the baby, you ever get the temptation to just like see what it's all about? The answer to your question is no. I suppose on some level, and I hate that I'm even saying this, there is a modicum of intellectual curiosity, just to, like, that little voice in the back of your head is like, I wonder if this tastes like cow's milk or sheep's milk or what, right? But no, actually, like, sometimes I'll be, like, pouring the bag into a bottle and, like, a drop will get on my finger, and I actually, like, wash my hands, and, like, it just, I don't know, it just feels weird. It almost feels, it's funny to say, And like, don't get weird with the context, but it's almost like it's like too intimate. For one, like to drink a food that, you know, your spouse produced. And I know there's people that do it. There's people that do everything. I've seen like that. There's a documentary on Netflix about like people who use like human breast milk in cooking. And I've told the story before, but I love. There was like one guy. His wife had like hyperlactation syndrome, so she produced like way more milk than they needed for their kids. So she would like store it in the freezer, and they would use it in lieu of like actual milk when they were cooking. Not for me, but you know, I don't have a Netflix show about me, so what do I know? But there's a great moment where the husband goes like, yeah, I'm kind of weirded out by it, and you know, if she keeps doing it, we're gonna have problems. But while he's saying this, he's actually pouring her milk into like scrambled eggs to fluff them up. So you're like, he thinks the hubby doth protest too much, perchance. Right, baby? She's like, yeah, that's right. That's for me. That's for me. That's silly, daddy. You're just supposed to eat the cold pizza. Oh, no. Cold pizza again. Oh, no. Cold pizza. Why did I use my spacebar item? Good question. I think I want to suck those items up, but getting Dark Bum and Mulligan is actually pretty sweet. So we should be getting items from like every other room here. So I think we're gonna make it. So there is like the slightest bit of intellectual curiosity, but the honest to goodness truth is that it's just like, I don't know. Like I feel like if I produced the food out of my body and Kate was like, you know, hey, I don't want to like eat it, but I just thought I'd give it a try to see what it tastes like, I would be like, what? And I know the parallels that people are drawing right now. I'm just saying there's a little bit of a difference, you know. If I had a freezer full of the stuff that you're talking about right now, then I think I gotta go to the hospital. Or the Dragon's Den. Baby, you okay? She's fine. She's fine. Okay, hold on. Hello. The baby. The baby. You taking the baby from me? Okay. She's been very good. She was smiling like crazy while I was just talking. Yeah, I think she likes being in the room while there's some recording. Now, mind you, in about an hour, she would not, because she's gonna get pretty hungry, I think. But okay, dude, this is a tough choice here. I really don't want to use Forget Me Now, but it is 4 free items. The thing is, though, like it does. The thing I have to consider is not like, oh, am I like too lazy? Because I want the win. No matter what here, I want the win. But the thing we have to consider is, does it raise or lower our chances of success? And if we're pretty close to the... No, I need it! If we're pretty close to the boss fight, then I think it lowers our chance of success. Genuinely. That was a well-placed bomb. Well met! Sorry. I must protect the wild. Okay, that's good. That's good, man. That's good. So how do you play this one? We're not going to use Emperor yet because we get an all-stats upgrade. Just scared of lust here. Oh, we snuck through. We get an all-stats upgrade for doing one more room. That's pretty valuable. And whatever consumables we get upon completion of this room, you know, also carry some merit themselves. So ideally, we'd like to kill Envy last. Or, yeah, no, Wrath last. Wrath last, sorry. Got my sins confused. And neither of these really justify the existence of one another. So, I think we're going to Emperor card right away. And we're not going to use our spacebar. And we are just going to remember, for the love of God, that we have the fear of God in us right now. And all I mean by that is that We should not be flippant with our HP. Like, I don't think that was flippant. We had to make a move, but every single bit of damage we take is unbelievably precious. Every bit of HP that we have right now is worth a ton. And if you could sneak in there, incredibly bad performance, but we did not get hit for a second time, which is kind of unbelievable to me. We're very rapidly approaching mathematical safety. I don't like standing here anymore. It looks to me like we will be fine. And this run, like, dude, it took some sauce. This was a run that required a little seasoning. I'm happy we were able to do it. For now, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps it a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya! I'll see ya.